Industrialization increases our ability to produce material goods while having a tremendous impact on the environment. Those world powers with strong economic markets must continue to produce more and more goods or falter and fall behind those countries that are increasing their gross domestic product. Multinational corporations continue to push for growth, which is in their best interest if one only considers profit motivations. Environmental problems are the direct result of industrialization. Environmentalists are concerned with the sustainability of our world, and that continued pressures on the environment will have devastating results on our world's population as a whole. Many call for a goal of harmony between technology and the natural environment. Pollution causes a risk to people all across the globe. Industrialization imposes a cost of toxic waste pollution, which affects the land, the air, and our waters. Some waterways have become toxic sewer systems. In China, 9,000 chemical banks line the Yangtze River, turning it into an industrial sewer. Nuclear power plants create a special kind of risk because their waste can remain toxic for thousands of years. Nuclear waste is difficult to store, and storage sites are located within some of our poorest communities. To entice communities to store these deadly materials, communities are offered monetary incentives of jobs and community infrastructure. But spent fuel rods must be stored somewhere, as they remain radioactive for about 250,000 years. This map shows you where in the U.S. the most hazardous and least hazardous sites are located. Acid rain is another consideration, which occurs as a result of burning fossil fuels. The gases produced by burning fossil fuels are released into the atmosphere, which then react to the moisture in the air and produces rain with sulfuric and nitric acids. Acid rain kills the fish that live in many lakes in the northern and eastern U.S. and also in Canada. Our oceans are affected by pollution, but will also have an effect on our land masses as global warming increases the water levels in our oceans. Countries like Maldives, which is a chain of over 200 islands in South Asia and is located in the Indian Ocean, face a very real threat of extinction, as many of their islands are only about 6 feet above the current sea level. Environmental activism has become a popular and worldwide social movement. In Germany, the Green Party has been established and holds a seat in the national legislature and negotiates on critical issues. In the United States, the Green Party, as a political group, has been much less successful. Environmental sociology is not referring to activist groups that are seeking to create positive and healthy environmental change, but rather, environmental sociology studies the interaction of people within the environment. Environmental sociology recognizes that the physical environment is an aspect of the research, and that people are not the only species that depend on the environment, and that human actions have unintended consequences. It also recognizes that the world's resources are finite and that growth is not unlimited. It also understands that economic growth requires the extraction of resources, and that this results in ecological problems, and that these problems imply limitations of growth. It's also concerned with governments that encourage economic growth, because this increases the burden on the environment, and that we must also solve these environmental problems for the welfare of humanity. The concept of harmony centers on the idea that we must reach a middle ground between those that seek purely to protect the environment and those that believe that economic growth and material prosperity are the primary goal. We also need to understand that to minimize the damage to the environment, that we must find a way to monitor the production of waste items and to assure that when we do dispose of waste, that it's done in an environmentally safe manner. So that ends our chapter on social change and the environment. We considered how technology transforms the social order and different aspects of social organization and how change takes place. We also considered environmental issues and talked about the difference between the environmental movement and environmental sociology. And we discussed the idea of social harmony.